Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Wrestling Marks review. We have not been here for maybe a year since WrestleMania 31. That was our last review, but we're back now, better than ever. New everything, new year.
It's a new
and
era.
Now we're yeah, it's a new era. That's the new name. That's the thing. We started that, not the WWE. We started that.
Yeah, Shane
Anyways.
McMahon who?
Okay, so now we're gonna be reviewing NXT Takeover Dallas 2. This is the second year. Yeah,
Brooklyn?
Brooklyn. I don't know why I said Dallas. My bad. We're in Brooklyn. This is their second year here. I guess you could say this is kind of like their. I don't want to say like their WrestleMania, but I don't know. They always have these big moments, or they've had really big moments in this like whole arena already. So we had a really good show, honestly. From the top to the bottom of the card. There were a few tweaks, but it's NXT. It's always gonna be good no matter what, Like you could say Raw always had some few tweaks, but it's always gonna be like pretty much it's always average. But NXT is always like good. But sometimes it's perfect, but sometimes it's not. Austin Aries versus No Way Jose. God, Austin Aries or this feud actually I did not like it at first. The problem is that I did not like No Way Jose at all at first. Like I just thought I know you love this guy, but I just thought he was gonna be No. Just hear me out. I know you love this guy, but I thought he was gonna be another Adam Rose.
Listen here. Let me correct you right there, because I do not love No Way Jose.
I know. No, I meant I know you love Adam Rose.
Oh, Adam Rose. Okay. No, I do love Adam Rose. Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
So I thought this guy was gonna be just like him, with the whole party gimmick, but the thing that's different about Jose is that he has a really, really good serious side, and he's been bringing it in this feud. I've actually been watching NXT. I know it's kind of fell off a bit, but the way he implies his character with the serious side, and he didn't really do much of his gimmick too much here because he really tried to be his serious character side. And I really liked that, and it really showed during this match that he was trying. I think he really held himself here in this match against Aries, and Austin Aries is such a good wrestler. He can pretty much hold himself a lot of the times. He's been wrestling these big guys like a lot lately. I mean, or at least the tall guys. He's been wrestling. He wrestled Baron. He wrestled Shinsuke. Shinsuke is kind of tall. He has those long legs. And No Way Jose, he's tall. He's big, man. But, he's so, like, simple in the ring. He has all these really basic moves. He has just, like, a basic rolling elbow and the basic suicide dive, and the drop kick in the corner. He has all these moves that are so regular, but he implements it like so well. He makes it look really, really good, and that's what makes Aries like such a good wrestler. During the middle of this match, he went for the brain buster. Did you see that?
I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't paying attention to the match.
You weren't paying attention. Yeah, I was watching it, and I was like, he went for the brainbuster. I swear. Like, and the way that they like played it off, it was like, oh, he was going for something we don't know, like as if he never did the move before. I was like, I don't know why they have a problem with him doing the brainbuster. I love the last chancery. That's like a good second finisher that he always had too, but eventually Austin Aries won off a sunset power bomb and locked in the last chancery. I think it was the second time he locked it in, and Austin Aries picked up the win. I was kind of scared actually that No Way Jose was gonna win this match, because honestly I think Austin Aries, even though I love Austin Aries as a wrestler, I kind of think he's been kind of underwhelming in NXT. But I'm kind of patient on wrestlers. Like I kind of understand, like you're not automatically gonna put like guys in the main event. I mean, sometimes it works, but sometimes you just kind of want to build them up. You know, because when Samoa Joe came in, I mean, he did go for he went after Kevin Owens, who was the champion at the time. But I remember during their feud, it was like, oh, you haven't been here long enough, so you don't deserve to face Kevin Owens and all that. And he eventually got the title shot a lot later, So that was my thoughts of the match. I thought it was pretty good, even though I know dazed off during this match, right?
Yeah. So I didn't pay much attention, but I did catch the finish, and like, I'm not gonna lie, I like that move. What did they call Austin Aries, the most interesting man in the world, or what?
The greatest man to ever live. I'm gonna need you to put some respect on Austin Aries.
You're gonna not like what I'm about to say. He people call him the greatest man that ever lived, but from what I've seen so far, I don't think he's all that great.
He's just a man.
He's just a man that has lived.
He is kind of underwhelming.
And I think that's just because of the feuds he's been in. Not so much the Shinsuke one. That was a good match.
Yeah.
But Baron Corbin, he's a boring character. I don't like him. No Way Jose, I hate him so much. Just hate it. So I think just the combination of who he's going against just turns me off completely from all his work. And it's just boring to me. As much as I hate to use that word with Austin Aries, because I know he's like a huge star, it's just not my type of thing. And I can't watch him so far. He needs to be but he needs to be put in a feud with someone that will escalate him and make me go, damn, this guy is pretty good.
And who was that? Hideo Itami came out. I was wondering, like, why wasn't he featured in the show? He kind of like walked into the shadows, because after that huge injury, I think, honestly, I thought he could have been champion that year he got injured. Honestly, he probably would have. Honestly, I think
he was definitely getting there.
I think he could have won in that Japan event in Beast in the East, but he was injured. So, because Japan is his hometown. Even though they made it work with Balor, because he became a star there, but Hideo was like from there, so it could have worked out either way. And I think, just like you said, Austin Aries needed somebody to elevate him, and I think Hideo and Aries, Jesus, I think it's gonna be. I think this could be elevating for both men, honestly, but we'll see. But what happened
before you get into what happened? Let me just say Hideo's shoe game, amazing.
Oh shit!
His shoe game was perfect.
He came out with the, oh my god.
Were they they're like a pink kind of color, like a peach maybe?
Yeah.
Amazing.
I don't even know. It was. It's like when Batista came out with the Jordans. No, not the Jordans. What the hell? I don't know what they were. Nikes. I don't care. I'm not a shoe guy.
Yeah,
but
he doesn't wear
Hideo
shoes.
came out. I love Hideo. He's God, I wish he was so much. I wish he didn't get injured, because he was big. He's if he came in a little bit later, he probably would have came in as Kenta. And I accepted the name Hideo Itami now, and I think he's gonna do great. I'm glad he's come back, and finally he hit a GTS, or at least on live.
Yeah, how dare him steal that from CM Punk?
CM Punk. He's a CM Punk. You mean that guy in the UFC?
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, he invented that. No, I'm just kidding. I actually saw someone on Twitter who said that, and it was just so embarrassing. But I like that they put emphasis on that on commentary. They're like, "Hit the GTS. He invented that." Like, okay, guys, calm down.
Yeah.
Everyone who's watching NXT, well, 99% of people watching NXT know that. So you don't have to say it. It's probably like a Triple H move.
I love the commentary team though. I at least, especially Corey Graves. I'm glad they didn't like. They still let him do the takeover events for NXT. I'm really glad they let him do that because I love when I hear him announce Shinsuke finisher. But you know we're gonna get there eventually to Shinsuke match.
Yeah. Okay. So then from that we went on to Billie Kay versus Ember Moon, which I didn't think I would be interested in because I don't like Billie Kay's, not to be rude or anything, but she does the job in NXT. That's what she does so far. And then Ember Moon, I didn't know who the heck it was gonna be, because I don't really follow NXT anymore, honestly. My brother said he knew who it was, which was surprising because he's like a casual fan. But this match was like sick to me. Like I liked it. Like, people honestly thought once the Four Horsewomen and Bayley, who seems to be, we'll talk about that, but once they left, that the women's division in NXT was going to be a little weak. But Ember Moon is going to make sure it stays up. She hit two specific things that I thought were amazing. She hit a springboard crossbody, which you don't really see women doing, even now with like the women's revolution, where everything is so much better than how it was 5
I don't think
years ago.
I don't think any woman wrestler does springboards at all.
Yeah, not really.
Not
The
that I
most
remember.
is like suicide dives and like top
Yeah,
rope
but
moves.
springboards, no. Like,
And that was just awesome. She hit it pitch perfect. And then her finisher, amazing. It's like a top rope
oh my, it
corkscrew
was like
stunner.
a corkscrew stunner from the top rope. It was
Awesome.
ridiculous. Like Jesus
I-
Christ, when I saw that,
I loved that.
I screamed. I literally screamed because Jesus.
Even though
that
this was a match just to introduce Ember Moon and it was like a build-up match for her, it was still like amazing and I still liked it. And it was, whew, man, Ember Moon.
Billie Kay kind of reminds me of Tyler Breeze because she's been, I know you haven't been watching, but she's been winning matches and she's been kind of been building up, you know? And and then when I saw the announcement, like she's like, "Oh yeah, I want a match at Takeover," you know? I've been winning all these matches and it's like, "Oh yeah, okay, you're going to face Ember Moon." And I was like, that really reminds me of Tyler Breeze because I remember he was complaining about winning all these matches, and then William Regal was like, "Okay, you're gonna face Jushin Thunder Liger." I was like, "Oh my god!" But Ember Moon, I had no idea who she was at all, you know. And then I don't know if you heard this, but she faced Asuka in a live event. And she had a standing ovation.
Wow.
So yeah, at a live event too. So it was like, I think from that I knew I was gonna come into this like being impressed. So, you know, I'm glad, and I was super glad when I heard about her, and I was like, cause I saw Billie Kay, and I was like, she's not really the one to kind of. I know she'll be developed over time, and she still is, but I think Ember Moon is already a star, and honestly,
She's not
we
a
might.
star. She's a moon.
That was good job. Good job with that. Good job.
Thank you.
I'm,
Thank you.
But you know, like Billie Kay wasn't. You know, like I just didn't really see it, but. We could be possibly seeing. I know maybe it's a bit too early, but maybe we'll see Asuka versus Ember Moon because you know they had a match at the live event, and not that I think of it, there's not really anybody else on the women roster that comes into the top of my head. I know they've been trying to introduce a lot more women. I know you haven't been watching. Yeah, I've said that already, but. On the latest NXT, they had like this 6 women tag team match, and they had like 4 women that I didn't even know, except for Amanda from Tough Enough. Yeah, she debuted. Um, so we'll probably have Ember Moon versus Asuka.
which I'm fine with.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard, since she got a standing ovation, I would think they would have a really good match.
Yeah.
Or they're going to have a really good match. So I'm pretty excited for that. If that is going to happen.
The future is now in NXT. And speaking of the future, we go into the next match between the glorious, and this hurts me to say it, the glorious Bobby Roode and Andrade Cien Almas, who I love. He's amazing.
What?
What? Are you saying he's not amazing?
Let me just say this, all right?
No. Let me just say, he was one of the biggest stars in CMLL, the oldest wrestling promotion to exist, and he has had great matches. You might not know this, or you might. He's had great matches with Shinsuke Nakamura for the IWPG Intercontinental Championship.
Mm-hmm.
He's great. But when they put him against someone like Bobby Roode, who all the marks love, he doesn't seem that great. And all I gotta say, this match was okay. It wasn't the strongest match on the card, but it wasn't weak. There was no weak matches, really. But, God, Bobby Roode. God, just let me say, everyone loved his entrance, and I thought I thought it was cool.
It's ridiculous.
But
like,
people were
jeez.
people were like escalating how good it was. They're like, "Oh, this is the best entrance in wrestling history."
I mean, I didn't see that, but
The what? The best what in what history? So, Bobby Roode is just in this match. Well, let me also say, I don't understand Cien's like entrance attire.
oh yeah, I was gonna rant about that, like make a real rant about that. Like, okay, it really confused me. Okay, first of all, Bobby Roode came out. He out like pretty much he's so over, man. Like, and
Which
Cien
sucks
came
because
out
he's supposed to be a heel.
for real.
He's supposed to be the heel in this match. People are supposed to be cheering Cien Almas, and they're supposed to be booing Bobby Roode, but people for a second were booing Cien.
They were booing, yeah. I thought he was just gonna. He kind of got a silent reaction after a while, but okay. Here's the thing that doesn't make sense. He's wearing. Okay, first of all, that fedora is terrible, and then
God.
he's wearing all red, and then he takes it off, and I get really confused because he's wearing like a white and blue attire.
Which reminded me of Macho Man Randy Savage attire at.
It just kind of, yeah. Like those are little pet peeves to me. Like I always love like matching attires are kind of little things to me that are important, But like when I saw that, I was like, "Why are you wearing red? Why are you wearing that fedora? He needs to lose that
All
fedora."
red everything, man.
Jeez, man.
All red everything. But anyways, so I honestly, Bobby Roode's a great wrestler. Don't get me wrong.
He is.
But this match really made me hate him. Because, let's face it, this guy has worked in TNA, he's worked in other places, and he's one of those guys, like Samoa Joe or like Austin Aries, that people always wanted to see in WWE. And once he gets here, for whatever reason, just like Austin Aries, they decide to turn him heel. Which just doesn't work. Because the fans love him. They're not going to boo him unless he says they're wearing oversized t-shirts or whatever the hell he said. So it forces the fans to turn on whoever he's facing, who's a babyface. And that just made me so mad. Because that wouldn't happen in Full Sail. In Full Sail, they would have cheered both of them. But for whatever reason, the Brooklyn crowd decided to boo Cien Almas, which is just ridiculous. Like, he's a babyface. Don't boo him just because he's getting some offense on your precious Bobby Roode. Oh, But Bobby Roode got the victory. So that's 2 TNA victories on the NXT, not TNA victories, but 2 guys from TNA who come randomly to NXT and get victories. I just, this match makes me so mad. I hated it. No, I didn't hate it. I hated the crowd reactions. Like, oh man.
I understand. I also wanted to say, I don't like the pump handle drop as a finisher, or at least for Bobby Roode. I mean, I think his other moves could have came into place. You know, like, I know he had like another Roode bomb. Like, that was his finisher name before too, the Roode bomb, something like that.
I think the pump handle was
Yeah, it was the glorious bomb. Yeah.
Shut up, Tom Phillips. Maybe it's Tom Phillips. I don't know.
Maybe it was both. I don't know. I just think he could have used. I know his finisher was a crossface before, and other people you kind of use it as a regular move. But I think maybe it could have worked. I just think he has a lot in his arsenal. And then when I saw the pump handle drop, and I heard the announcement of like, "Oh, the glorious bomb," I just kind of, and I knew it was gonna be the ending. It's kind of felt underwhelming, and I think CN is really good, honestly, in the ring. Like, he's really, really good. Like, his agility is really crazy. Like, the way he uses the ropes and all that. It's honestly, I really like his wrestling, but like, honestly, Bobby Roode just, ouch.
He buried him. Let's be real. He buried him.
And I don't know. Honestly, I don't think CN really connects that much. Even his debut match, like, they like even almost Ty Dillinger even kind of got cheered more. No, he did get cheered more.
It's because he's Mexican. Just kidding.
That's what you think. Okay. Well, that was the match, right? Nothing special, you know. Next, we have the Tag Team Championship being defended by the Revival, and they're facing Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, who are now pronouncing themselves as DIY, do it yourself. I think it works as a tag team name, and honestly, I was really thinking, like, because, you know, Giovanni kind of messed with my mind, and he was saying, you know, like, oh, the heel turn, like, the whole match, I was really, really scared.
So, for what he's saying, before the match started, I said, and I called, my bold prediction of the night was that Johnny Gargano, Johnny Wrestling, was going to cost his team the match.
Oh, you thought Johnny was gonna turn?
No. I thought he was going to cost them the match. He was going to get pinned, and then Tommaso was going to get angry and turn on him.
I got so scared, but honestly, before we get into that, I honestly thought this was the match of the night, for me at least.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I was just really, I was shaking a lot, and there were so many, what do you call it, like, false finishes. And okay, first of all, they missed so much, like, camera shots of Gargano's super kicks. Like, he did one in the ring and they missed it, and then he did one outside the ring and they missed it. I got really, like, I'm a huge super kick mark, and I missed both those super kicks, or at least, like, they missed it on camera. But I mean, I saw one super kick, you know, the finisher combination that they do with the knee and the super kick combination. I love that finisher so much, and I thought that was gonna be the
Me
ending.
too, honestly, I was like, wow, my bold prediction just got thrown out the window.
I marked out when I saw that move the first time, at least, and I just, Jesus, this match, there's so much action. You know, I really, really like the Revival. Like, they are really, they're such a good tag team. They pulled off like a lot of tag team moves in this match, and you don't really see that anymore. You know, they like maybe you'll see like a couple tag team moves every once in a while, but they like these guys are like the like you would think like Marks are always making like tag team combinations, and then you would kind of see them on the indies, but these guys are like making all these tag team moves that you don't see that often, and they were just like doing it constantly, and you know it really I really like that, and just their style in the ring. Like honestly, I was not that too fond. I wasn't too fond of the Revival at first, but then they just really have grown on me. After all the retains, and especially the way they retain tonight. Um, God, I was just really scared. Eventually, Johnny Gargano was the legal man, and eventually they just went for his leg, just the way how they did it to Big Cass. I think it was at, was it called a roadblock when they had that match? I don't know, something like that. They mentioned it about Big Cass about injuring their leg, and they did the same thing to Gargano, and eventually he tapped out to a leg submission. Since they put so much
fatal four way, a reverse figure four.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I couldn't really tell what it was, but that was a really, like, Jesus, he looked a lot in vain. I think Gargano's selling is one of my favorites right now in the whole company. Like, the way he just, like, sells the strikes and the spits that come out of his mouth, it's just, it's crazy how he just, like, oh my God. So the Revival retained. Definitely a different way to retain their titles. You know, we didn't even see their finishing move, which is the Shatter Machine, I believe. I love that finisher, honestly. But we didn't see it tonight. We saw a different finish tonight, and I love that. You know, you always want to change it up, but here's where I got really scared, because they did that thing, right? Where they just point to the ring and there's only two of them left. And I was like, don't do it.
And at the same time, I was like, do it. Do it already. Do it down. I was like, oh, he's gonna hit him in the back. Oh, no. Oh, he's gonna raise his hand and then he's gonna close them. Oh, they're out of the ring. Oh, he's gonna throw him into the steel steps. Oh.
It's like that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn turn. Like, I was like, they're gonna do it. They're gonna, like, it's like those TV segments where you see like one guy on, they're like, do it, and the other guy, they cut to the other guy, they're like, don't do it, and then it's so dramatic, but it's so like, it's supposed to be like a special moment, like where people are just supposed to stand up and give the standing ovation. But I was scared, man. Like, I did not, like, I know they could like do a really good 1v1 feud, but I was just like, oh, just don't, like, I really love them, you know, like, I just loved everything that they've been doing, like everything that they've been doing in the ring, out of the ring. It's just, I love these guys so much together. And you know what I love is that these guys weren't even a tag team at first. They just, or at least like before in the independent scene, and then they came into NXT and they put them together, and God, they just clicked, you know? And it just, I love that, you know? Because you, like, American Alpha, you know? Jason Jordan was with Ty Dillinger maybe like 2 years ago. And now you see him now, and he's on the main roster with Chad Gable, which you would never expect. And now you see a whole different side to Jason Jordan. You know, I think they're really good tag team wrestlers. I honestly kind of only see Gable as a individual wrestler. Like, I could see him, but I can't really see it for Jordan. But the reason why I'm saying that is because I could see these guys, Gargano and Ciampa, both as single guys and tag team guys, which is like, I love that, you know? I love that aspect that they weren't really supposed to be there, but then you find yourself loving these guys, and they how they click so much, and you just love that tag. I love him. I love them so much, honestly.
And I'm so glad that I got to plant that seed in your head where you thought that they were gonna like split, and then the heel like and it was something that I just thought of like during that backstage segment where he showed the shirt, and I was like,
Oh
you know,
my
I'm
god.
a nerd, so I stayed like window shopping for t-shirts. So I was like, wait a second, that t-shirt's not on the shop. They're splitting up. So like I came up with this elaborate thought in my head real quick, and didn't even come true.
Because they don't usually, I mean, they usually do that,
Yeah.
They have a shirt but they don't release it. I mean, they
Unless
only
it's
did that
Y2AJ.
once. Yeah, unless it's Y2AJ, which
Yeah.
I still feel really bad for the people who bought that. But honestly, it's probably a rare shirt.
Same
at
thing's
this
gonna
point.
probably happen with Jericho. But,
Jericho.
man, I loved this match. So this is my favorite match on the card, without a doubt. And the Revival's just so good at being a heel tag team. Like, people boo them not because they're boring or whatever. They boo them because they're heels. And that's
And
just
they really they put a lot of work.
yeah.
Like they showed that a lot in the ring.
And the one specific thing they did that I loved was when, I don't even know their names, but one of them jumped into the ring and was pretending like he was injured, and he was asking for a timeout.
I saw that.
And the
Yeah.
ref was like, "Get out of the ring! What are you doing?" And Ciampa got the tag, but the ref turns around and he didn't see the tag, and he forces Gargano out of the ring. And I thought
That was one of my
perfect.
favorite spots in the match.
And
Yeah.
like, they just know how to break up pins and break up everything perfectly, where it's like, damn it, like we could have seen the end of the match. Like, the Revival makes me look at wrestling the same way I looked at it like when I was like 5, because their matches are so unpredictable. There's so many false finishes. You don't know what's gonna happen. It's crazy, and I thought it was the best match on the card. I am disappointed that Ciampa did not turn on Johnny Wrestling, but it's okay. It's okay.
It is.
Because now that I
this-
think about it, it doesn't really make sense because there's not really many other big tag teams in NXT right now, other than those big guys, and then those guys that the Revival beat up like 2 episodes ago or something.
You
like
mean I was about to talk about that, where we see DIY, they didn't win, so this kind of leaves the question, like, I don't really know who's next, but my guess is that I don't want to say they might have a rematch. I mean, maybe they will, and they'll win it on a show. I don't know. That could happen, but other than that, I could guess the newest tag team which they faced before, TM61. I don't know if you've ever seen them, but
that. I saw the
they
one
are-
match where
they're pretty impressive.
they
I
lost, and then
actually liked
Gargano
them.
and Ciampa came out and cut a promo.
Yeah, I actually really like them. Definitely more than whatever those other guys are.
The big
Um,
guys.
The big guy, yeah, with
Not the
big guy.
Rybacks,
Not the Ryback.
just the big guys.
They just look. They just look really awkward to me, and I thought if DIY won, they could have a rematch, and then they could win again, and then maybe they could have that feud with the 2 big guys, which maybe I'll find out their names later. I know it's somewhere in my head, but they're not that relevant right now. But anyways, that was a great match. Honestly, match of the night, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. So then after that, we went to the women's championship match between the champion Asuka and Bayley. And I thought, even though this match was kind of slow, it was a lot better than their last match for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think this was maybe one of the weakest matches of the night. Not a weak match, but
yeah,
just
but
like one
compared
of
to
the
the other
weakest.
matches, definitely.
Oh yeah, the first one. I was kind of hoping like the first match was supposed to be disappointing. They kind of built it up like that because in the promos Bayley is like she looked really like her facial expressions looked really upset, and she was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, like I had no idea what I was going
She
into,"
was
and
like, I disappointed my family, and I was like, whoa,
yeah, I was
Bailey,
like, Jesus,
calm
like
down.
she, like I really like
Yeah.
that
So, but this
video
this
package.
match was better. It was a lot of strikes.
Oh
I
yeah,
felt like though, I said this to you, that I felt like Bailey was kind of off and like out of it, cause she was kind of
oh yeah,
slow. She's working kind of slow. And then I don't see why she wouldn't have been able to execute that power bomb spot.
oh yeah, but she saved herself.
Yeah, she did save it. It could have been a disaster. I think
Oh
if it
yeah,
was like,
definitely.
I think if it was like Eva Marie versus
Oh
Carmella, it would have been
Jesus.
terrible, and it just would have been a meme. But I didn't really even hear anything about that spot, really. Um,
Because you knew they were going for the power
yeah,
bomb.
yeah,
They did it
yeah, and
twice,
they
but
came up with a good
like alternate
yeah, alternate
resolution.
slamming her down. But man, that ending where she just kicks her in the head and she gets up again.
Oh yeah, I really like that
And
honestly.
then I believe she went off the buzzsaw kick, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
so
was shit.
man, and
Shit, her kicks are really crazy.
they are.
Honestly,
And
Oscars.
gosh, that like the ending of that match. I I don't know at which point of the match I realized it, but at some point during the match, I was like, "Wait, I just saw some bright ass orange hair." So, I was looking and like Becky and Sasha were at ringside, and the ending of the match where Bayley is just laid out after getting pinned, there's this shot of Bayley laying down, and you see in the background like Becky and Sasha, and they look like disappointed, like real wrestling fans, like they're sad that the person they were rooting for lost, and just that show of respect between Asuka and Bayley was awesome. Even
Oh
though
yeah,
Asuka kind of looks creepy all the time, like she didn't look like she felt bad about beating her. Like she didn't feel bad that Bayley was like sad.
yeah, she's just walking out like, "Oh, I'm the
Oh,
champion
I'm the
still."
champion. Ha ha ha. I'm the champion.
But
But
God,
then
that ending.
yeah, so Bayley goes out and then she hugs Becky and Sasha. And then I didn't even think Charlotte was there, but Charlotte showed up on the other side because
Oh, they showed
obviously.
her before.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I was probably went to the
but I
bathroom.
actually thought that was kind of smart.
Yeah, yeah, they can't
Like
put
they
Sasha and Charlotte
separated
together.
Sasha.
Yeah, they're
Okay,
facing
I was
each
like,
other.
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and then, man, this is where I thought the heel turn was gonna happen. I thought she was gonna go over to Izzy and pull her over the barricade and start stomping her out, and she was gonna turn heel.
Throw her to the steps.
Yeah, throw
Oh,
her
I
into
don't
the
want to think
steps.
of that.
No,
I
no,
don't wanna
but
think
the poor little girl was crying, and Becky gave her a hug, and the whole time I was just laughing because I was like, oh, she's gonna do it, she's gonna pull her over the barricade. But no, it was a touching moment, and it's kind of like a farewell. And I
It
think
was.
she's coming up because she
Like
kind
they
of
knew.
yeah, she walked up
Like
the,
everybody in
the
the arena knew.
yeah, she walked up the ramp and she like pointed at the NXT logo on the top. And I was like, come on, that's gotta be a come up. Like she's gonna show up on Raw or SmackDown. She's probably gonna show up tomorrow,
Probably.
honestly.
Yeah, I think she's probably gonna show up on. I think this was the plan all along because she was never legitimately injured.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
So they
like,
they wanted to play it up to SummerSlam, I think, and I think maybe she'll show up to SummerSlam or even Raw.
I just feel like Bayley has been in NXT for so long, and I honestly thought a year ago when Sasha, Becky, and Charlotte were brought up, I thought she was gonna get brought up too. And when it didn't happen, I was like, wait, what? Like, these are the four horsewomen that like changed the game in NXT, and she's not gonna get brought up. But now that like everything has kind of happened, I'm glad that they've waited until now. If this is when she's gonna come up, because I think there's rumors that Charlotte's gonna be leaving to like recover for a bit. So I think if like Sasha and Bayley can do something on Raw, that would be amazing. Even though it wouldn't make that much sense because they just teamed together. Where was that at Battleground?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but man, I just need to see Bayley on Raw or SmackDown. Preferably Raw.
I think what should happen is that she shouldn't show up at Raw. She should show up at SummerSlam, but I think she should be at SmackDown.
Really?
Because that separates. Because they kind of need, a big woman on there, because Bayley's a really big star, and they already have Sasha on Raw.
That's true.
So I think if they put Bayley on SmackDown, they separate Sasha and Bayley, and maybe we could have some kind of interaction along the way. Like, they'll interact tomorrow on SummerSlam, right? And it'll be like a big tease until WrestleMania where they actually wrestle. But I don't know. That's kind of like a Mark prediction.
Yeah.
But
if only.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to wait until like the next draft. Well, if they do like annual drafts, I'm not saying they probably will, but if they do that, just imagine like, or drafted to Raw. Oh, it's Bayley. She was on SmackDown, and then later in the night, Sasha gets drafted to SmackDown. You know how perfect that would be. Just holding us back from that for the longest time, and then sometime, it just happens, and we finally get that. That would be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be perfect. But Asuka's still the champion.
Asuka
in NXT
retained. That ending, I literally got goosebumps. Where, like, she was just hugging everybody, and Izzy was put to the front just to hug Bayley. It literally gave me goosebumps. That was a really good feel moment. Even though the match wasn't, that great, it was like the moment after is what kind of made it more special. So anyways, next we have Samoa Joe, NXT champion, defending against Shinsuke Nakamura. And honestly, I did not know who was gonna win. Honestly, I was like I don't know if they'll break Shinsuke's streak, but at the same time, like, Joe, he's barely retained it once, but there's so many thoughts like, oh, Joe could maybe go to the main roster. I don't know. These are just all post thoughts, let me just say, when they were showing the promo, and I know this just happened last week, they aired it last week, they had a sit down interview with Shinsuke and Joe, and then Joe just got up, and honestly, Joe is just so amazing right now as a heel. He stands up from his chair, and then Byron Saxton, who was interviewing both of them, he just runs away. I thought that was hilarious.
That segment was perfect. It was amazing.
It was like, I think Joe is just so good as a heel, and honestly, if he were to go to the main roster, like, they need like a heel like Joe, because Joe is, God, he's such a good heel. Just his facial expression and his attitude against his opponents, and how he mentions, or like how Regal had to ask Asuka to permit the match with Bayley, but he didn't ask Samoa Joe about Shinsuke, and he's like, oh, that's just this guy has an agenda against me.
Man.
Like
that kind of started to make me feel like, what the hell, Regal? Samoa Joe deserves some respect. Shinsuke doesn't deserve this. Put some respect on his name. Yeah, so what? He's not related to The Rock or Roman Reigns. Still gotta respect him, man.
I just love Joe, but then again, I really love Shinsuke. Shinsuke is just really, really, I think he's really special, man. Like, I don't know, his entrance tonight, he had a live performance from, I believe it was the actual guy who performed his theme song in the actual track. He came out and he was just playing it, and it was, live versions are always really, really cool. And Shinsuke, and the crowd just loves Shinsuke. They love singing his theme song, and I saw the guy who was playing the violin, and he was looking at Shinsuke, and I don't know, like it kind of made me like it was kind of the same way I would look at Shinsuke if I was looking at him. Like you can tell Shinsuke is like a really really special wrestler. You know, I don't think there's been anybody like Shinsuke. You know, because he is an Asian wrestler, and he speaks English, but you know
Craziest thing, he doesn't need to speak
his
for people
accent's
to
not the
love
best.
him.
And yeah, that's what I was about to say. That's the thing, right? Because he doesn't need to speak, but yet he has so much charisma, and he connects with the fans so well just by his facial expressions in the ring, and in segments, and he does not need to say a lot. Same with Asuka, she doesn't speak that much English either, and I've heard that she really struggles to communicate with others, but the way that she like performs herself in the ring really tells a story, and her facial expressions, like you said, she always looks scary, but she tries to make herself like that because that's her character.
Like, she honestly looks like she's about to eat the other person.
Exactly.
And like, man, they're just
and,
both of them.
and I love that because it's just what
Go ahead.
I wasn't gonna say anything, but
Oh, well, I was just gonna say both of them are like amazing. That there's some people on the mic that are so weak, and because of that, people don't care for them. And these two don't even need to talk on the mic, and everyone just loves them, especially Shinsuke.
they're that damn good.
Like,
No,
the fact that Shinsuke, all he needs to do is smile, and he becomes an instant meme on Twitter,
right?
is just
It's
amazing.
It's hilarious, but it's amazing at the same time because some people actually think the only way to tell a story in wrestling is just by like promos and interviews, but no, you have control of telling a story just by making these facial expressions and all that, and just the way you move yourself in the ring, like where Shinsuke always just like they're in a lockup, and then Shinsuke just backs off of them, and then he's doing his little taunts, and it just tells so much, and Joe is just so amazing to react to it because he's such a good heel, and you see him in this ring, and he is so annoyed. Like, he legit looks annoyed, and he looks angered, and that's what made this match really really good. Even though it was not that exciting in the beginning, it picked up at the end, and it's just it was a good match.
And I want to actually argue that statement and say that I loved the beginning of the match because it was something we haven't necessarily seen. Not the very beginning, but close to the beginning. It's something we haven't seen before in the WWE, which is Shinsuke being like the underdog in the match.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all his matches, it's either been an equal standing, like back and forth, or he's taken the lead. But in this, Samoa Joe was like on him nonstop until a certain point.
Right. But I don't know why, but these two guys' finishers, I don't know why, but I just think of them as so like I feel like they should be protected, like where like people just never kick out of their finisher.
Yeah.
And when I like those times that they do kick out, it's just like holy crap, like he kicked out of the Muscle Buster, and I always loved those like little variations of the Kinshasa, and then they kick out because I know they did that with Balor too, because he did it to the back of the head, but once he does the actual Kinshasa where the guy just stands up and he just does the standing one, it's like it's over, it's over. And that's what happened. He finished with the actual standing Kinshasa with the taunt and everything, and I believe people on Twitter were saying they threw up the X sign.
Yeah, and I actually
So
caught that, like a slight glimpse of the referee throwing out the X, because after I'm not sure if it was the last one, but I'm pretty sure it was the last Kinshasa. Joe was like holding on to his jaw, and I noticed the ref threw up the X. But some people pointed out that they've done that before in certain matches where
yeah,
nobody really got hurt, and they just know how to play on that. And I
right,
think
because they sell it so well.
yeah, and I think if he didn't get injured, that's great that they did that, because it makes Shinsuke look so much better. Like, damn, he broke Samoa Joe's jaw, like in kayfabe. Like, whoa.
And they've been building up Joe as like a beast,
as a monster. And then if it's not like kayfabe, and if it was legit, then like, damn.
Yeah.
Then I don't want to. That's not a guy I want to make mad. Like, you don't want to make Shinsuke mad, because that's crazy. But I'm not sure if I'm kind of thinking it was kind of kayfabe, because WWE hasn't said anything about it yet. I feel like they would have put it on like the website, even if it was kayfabe. They haven't really said anything about it, so I don't think it was too much of a deal. I think it was just kind of in the moment they did it. But God, it took three or four Kinshasas for Shinsuke to finally get the win?
I heard it was like if we're talking about like legit Kinshasas.
I'm talking about like in general, like from any angle, from every elongation.
Jesus.
It took like a good 4.
He always does these like he always does like these mini ones.
Yeah,
just like
but
like when he does the standing one, it's just like it's over.
I think
It's
that's
like,
perfect though. If they would have done one and done, it would have made Joe look terrible. But because it took like 3 or 4 for him to get the victory, perfect. It still makes Joe look insanely strong, because it took 4 of those.
And then I think Joe locked in the Kokita clutch like twice, and did the muscle buster too, which are really like protected finishers most of the time.
Yeah, but man, I really hope they do a second match, because
they have to.
Yeah, he needs a rematch.
The rematch, but at the same time, it does leave question if Samoa Joe could leave. Then it's because, once you lose the NXT Championship, there's nothing really left to do.
That's been the kind of the tradition, I guess, to say in NXT. Like, people usually lose the championship and they either go straight up to the main roster, or they do one last rivalry with someone and then they go up.
Right. And I think Joe on the main roster, I would have no problem with that. I actually thought he could have been drafted during the actual draft.
How crazy would that have been as the champion?
Because they had Kevin Owens debut as the champion.
Yeah, that's true.
So I was like, there's no problem with just drafting the champion. I mean, I have a lot of issues with why they didn't do that. Like, I have a lot to say about the draft, but that's for another talk.
I personally don't want to see Joe on the main roster right now. I think if he were to go up to the main roster, Raw or SmackDown, he'd kind of get overshadowed.
I could see where you
and like, I just, from what it seems, like Austin Aries is taken by Hideo, so that's a heel already in use. I don't know what Bobby Roode is doing, but I think Samoa Joe right now is the biggest heel in NXT, and they should capitalize on that for a while.
Right, and I honestly think they probably will, but I'm just saying, like, if they were to like pull the trigger for the main roster, I think maybe they could make it work, because the way they've been doing things with Balor,
Yeah, I think I'd rather if they do that, I'd prefer him to go to SmackDown.
Yeah, same.
Because there's just so much star power on Raw.
I
Seth,
just think they
Finn,
purposely made, like, I honestly thought like they could have had both equal shows, but they just made Raw look so good.
Yeah, they've got the Cruiserweight division, they've got the Women's Championship.
Right, I thought the Cruiserweight division should have gone on SmackDown. Like I
Yeah.
thought that was like gonna be the save, but no, they put it on Raw.
Yeah,
But I
and,
was,
and what I thought was, well, if cruiserweights go to Raw, then SmackDown gets the women's championship. But then they drafted the women's champion at the time, Charlotte, to Raw, and I was like, what?
right.
But so because of that, because of all what's going on in Raw, I think like without a doubt, Samoa Joe should go to SmackDown if he gets called up after his rematch against Shinsuke. But I think if he just goes to Raw, it's just gonna be terrible.
Right.
It's gonna.
I mean,
I don't want to say it would be another like Neville, Tyler Breeze, because those guys are small and there's a reason for them to be like that, because
That's
you know
true.
Vince McMahon. But I just feel like it would not be good. I feel like he'd be another Bray Wyatt, where the people love him. He's great on the mic. He's great in the ring, but for some reason he's always losing. You know?
I could see that if he was put on Raw.
Yeah, and I just don't want that to happen, because he's an amazing talent. He's great.
And
He's a
I
great
think
heel.
SmackDown needs more like star power.
Yeah,
And
I
I
think they
think
need more
Joe-
heels too.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Joe would be kind of the perfect fit. And we'll probably talk about that because after Dolph, it's like probably gonna be AJ. But who's next after that?
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that tomorrow, in our SummerSlam review. And
God,
I think
SummerSlam, man.
I think that's it for all my thoughts about NXT tonight.
Yeah, I think that's all I've got to say too, man. It was scale from 1 to 10. What do you give this show?
Oh shoot, I definitely don't think it was like the best takeover. But I'd probably give it 8.5 out of 10.
Okay. So my rating is kind of different. So I'm gonna put it out there right now. To me, in my opinion, I don't care what schools say. To me, a 5 is average. I think that's
So you think it's
fair.
a 5?
So I think it was like a 6.3.
0.3. That's so specific.
Yeah, it is, but there's a reason for it. It's just it wasn't
You
the greatest takeover show,
It wasn't.
but it's gonna blow SummerSlam out of the water.
I wouldn't say it's gonna blow it out. of the
I think
water.
it's safe to say that it's gonna blow SummerSlam out of the water, and if not, then people are still gonna be comparing SummerSlam a lot to this show.
I mean, I would agree if it was like freaking, I don't know, Payback, like
Yeah, any NXT
like
show.
no, but like SummerSlam, the card so far, I think if they go the right ways with
Come on.
with the matches,
It's WWE. It usually
they
doesn't
do
go
it
the right
sometimes.
way, right? It's Vince
I have-
McMahon.
I have faith, okay.
Vincent
I have,
Kennedy McMahon, the
have
devil
faith.
himself.
I have faith, okay.
Okay, I'm not
But
a man of faith.
We'll talk about it eventually. What happens? But that's about it, right? About NXT Takeover
Yeah,
in Brooklyn. NXT Takeover in Brooklyn twice this year. It's probably gonna be a yearly tradition until freaking they get tired of it, or
until
rather,
they bring SummerSlam back
they
to
just,
LA.
oh Jesus, I hope they do that. But anyways, that's about it for our review, our thoughts about NXT Takeover Brooklyn #2. I'm Alvin Alpha with my buddy here, Giovanni. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm Alvin Alpha. Giovanni's Twitter is GeoPipebomb. We'll have the links in the description. We have everything in the description. Our YouTube channels, Twitters. Check out our other videos. If you want to just have curiosity thoughts about our old pay-per-view reviews. Well, we will be having a SummerSlam review tomorrow. We'll be talking about that. We'll probably always do pay-per-view reviews and takeover reviews. General, good show tonight. Obviously not the best takeover, but it was a good show. Leave a video on this, like, favorite it, share
What
it.
did you just say?
said-
Leave a video on this like.
I said leave a like on this video, but if I did say that, glad you corrected me. Anyways, do all that shiz and we'll see you next time.
And in the words of Jesse the Body Ventura, the pleasure was all yours.